Welcome to the next prophecy update. Sorry for the delay. Today we're going to be briefly covering the protests that have been going on in Israel. Israeli troops kill protesters as they near the Golan border. Israeli forces opened fire on Sunday to disperse protesters in Syria who had approached a border fence on the Golan Heights. To mark the anniversary of the 1967 war, killing at least 6. Anyone who tries to cross the border will be killed, Israeli soldiers shouted. Sunday marked the 44th anniversary of the 1967 Middle East War. Palestinians in Syria descended from a hilltop and reached the disputed border that before last month had been largely tranquil for decades. Protesters did cut through the strands of barbed wire that Israel placed in the area between the fence, which is located inside Israel-occupied territory. Protesters planted a Palestinian flag at the barrier on the Rock Plateau, which Israel captured along with the West Bank and Gaza Strip in the 1967 conflict. Hours before the violence flared, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he had ordered Israeli forces to act with restraint, but with determination to prevent any border breach. At one point, protesters in the trench turned eastward toward Mecca and knelt in prayer. The border protests by unarmed demonstrators have raised Israeli concerns that Palestinians, inspired by the popular revolts in the Arab world, have adapted a new tactic calculated to draw a violent response and boost world sympathy for their cause. Hundreds of Palestinians clashed with the IDF in West Bank. IDF soldiers were confronted with hundreds of Palestinian protesters, firing tear gas and demonstration dispersal weaponry near a key West Bank checkpoint on Sunday. Demonstrators gathered at a gas station near the village in East Jerusalem early Sunday, hurling rocks at the security forces. One police officer was injured and at least 13 protesters were arrested during the clashes. Some Palestinian demonstrators hurled firebombs at the back of a university hospital. No one was wounded in the incident and there was no report of damage. The United States is deeply troubled over clashes on Syrian border with Israel that resulted in deaths and called for calm on both sides. We are deeply troubled by the events that took place earlier today in the Golan Heights, resulting in injuries and loss of life, the State Department said in a statement. We call for all sides to exercise restraint. Provocative actions like this should be avoided. The U.S. statement emphasized that Israel, like any sovereign nation, has the right to defend itself. Syrian children head for Israeli border. 13 dead, 150 injured. After several hours, the fortified border fence was breached, but the marches were deterred by Israeli fire from stepping across into Israel. The breaches occurred during a ceasefire requested by the Red Cross to evacuate the wounded. Syrian TV reported at least 13 dead and 150 injured. Towards the evening, groups of children were sighted advancing past a minefield toward the Israeli border. The Israeli border will remain on alert Sunday night for further disturbances from Syria. Later Sunday, many more casualties were reported from a powerful anti-tank mine explosion, some 3 kilometers inside of Syria. Ambulances were seen heading for the hospital. Soldiers used sniper fire against pinpointed targets of individuals, trying to damage the fence, and 2 armed men sighted near the border. The orders were to act firmly and with restraint to prevent a reoccurrence of the mass breaches of Israel on May 15th. The IDF declared the entire Golan Heights a military zone. Ahead of Sunday, Netanyahu government relayed messages to the neighboring Arab leaders that Israel would not tolerate any more assaults on its border. Syrian death toll climbs. Syrian says 20 killed, 325 wounded in border clashes. Golan Heights residents joined the protests and hurled concrete blocks at security forces in response to the firing of gas grenades at protesters. The IDF estimates that approximately 1,000 Syrians are protesting. Some 100 of them are near the border fence. Earlier on Sunday, the protesters torched 2 tires placed in the trench along the border. Some also tried to burn vegetation in order to detonate landmines. 4 old landmines exploded inside the Syrian territory, several hundred meters away from the border. The fire caused a blast which left casualties among the protesters. Things in the Middle East are rapidly changing. This year alone, we have witnessed and are witnessing the overthrow of many, many longtime leaders in various Middle Eastern countries. I believe that all we are seeing is a pre-planned, premeditated event. None of this is just some fluke happening. In the last month alone, Israel has seen the worst disturbances it has had on its border in 30 years. I believe it's important to keep a close eye on the upcoming biblical feasts and the Muslim holidays, as there could be more significant events happening during those times. As we watch the protests and the uprising spread into Israel and other parts of the world, we need to remember that no matter what happens, no matter what takes place, no matter what we see, the Lord is in control. The Naksa protests have ended and all is calm in Israel. Hopefully, it's not the calm before the storm.